What's up, folks? I'm Odd, by the way. If it seems especially bright and shiny in here today, that'd be my happy lamp.
The darkness has descended upon us.
So, today is a request challenge. Today is a request challenge that was given to me by a subscriber from the channel, which if you want to, make any inputs or things that you want to see in the future, I add them to the pile. This is kind of a short and sweet, but still pretty fun seeming concept. So what I'm going to be doing today is I have taken or brought up randomcolor.com yet again, and this is the whole web page. But when you refresh it, it gives you a single random color, and we're going to be using this today to roll colors to create characters based off of a random eye color. I am big on making eye colors for my characters. It's probably why I wind up making my character designs a little bit too finicky and detailed for what would probably be good for my mental health. But I like to have my characters' eye colors be very central to their design. So this is definitely something that is right up my alley, and it's an interesting way to determine kind of a character's vibe. And obviously we might not get a lot of very natural colors like this green. We might instead get a pink or a purple, and I think that I might even try to say fully that I'm going to be doing some fantasy characters, not necessarily just random people, although I might if I so feel drive to. But I think that I'm going to make it a little bit more funky in terms of character design. This leaves a lot of open possibility for me, obviously. So at that, let's just roll right into it and get our 3 colors for this hopefully relatively short intro. Boop. Color number 1 is dark green, like a leafy green. So this is definitely an eye color that just exists. So it's a little bit more bright than maybe eye colors might tend to trend, but or bright, but saturated than eye colors might tend to trend. But I mean, it's just a very green eye. So we're starting out kind of basic. Let's see if we get kind of a fun color for the next one. A boop. Ooh, it's very bright. It's a teal, kind of reminiscent actually of one of my character's eye colors. This kind of reminds me of Theo's. He's got a sea green eye. Definitely still within the range of possibility for human eye colors, so we're still leaning a little basic here, and it's very similar. Well, it's not very similar, but it's similar-ish to the green that we drew before. It's analogous. All right, so for our final color, are we gonna get something completely different? I'm not sure. Yes, we are. A hot pink. I was kind of hoping to get a pink eye, not pink eye, but I had, when I was envisioning this, figured that we would be getting some much more vibrant colors like this pink. So let me pop you guys down over to Clip so we can take a look at these really quick. Honestly, this might work in and of itself as almost like a minimalist palette. But I think that this should be an interesting starting point. So we have a very dark kind of sage forest. I would say this is more of a forest than a sage green. For our first character, definitely gives very natural druidic, but just kind of basic person vibes as well. It's similar to how my eye color looks in the light. I have hazel eyes, one of my favorite features. So, and then the sea foam kind of turquoise here, very reminiscent, although not fully, of my character Theo's. My tablet seems to be trending a bit more blue for it, but then on the upper screen it's a bit more green. So I don't know which one to trust more here. But yeah, regardless, it's pretty close to actually his eye color. So it's still within the realm of possibility, but it is pretty bright. So it could be like a sea or like a mermaid kind of vibe to it, right, for the iris. And then of course we have our hot pink, almost purple, depending on where you look at it, Let's see where this lands. Yeah, it is like right between red and purple, like mainly in purple. Essentially just a very bright purple. So completely different than these two characters' color schemes as well. So if these three were, say, a group, I would imagine this character would be very different from these two, just based off of this, you know, the vibe of this. Beyond that as well, just being a very unnatural and funky eye color. I'm imagining a very fantastical, maybe magical character, especially with the purplish tone to the pink. Somebody with some powers. Although I could see all three of them kind of falling into a very magical range. So I am excited to work with this. I think at that I will put this over to Speedpaint VoiceOver for you guys and show you what I did finally come up with for these three characters when we get there. This is going to be an interesting one. First up, we have our sort of forest green color. I wanted to sort of stick with the deep colors and jewel tones here, and the palette I started making was kind of giving me a Timberwolf vibe. Due to all those kind of muted jewel tones, though, the palette was also feeling very fancy. What ultimately sparked the most joy for me was a wolf character who had a sort of high-class adventurer feel to him. Is this dark academia? Is anything? I have no clue. I had a wolf character named Arrow ages ago, so since this character is wandering around with his compass, I decided to recycle the name and call them Arrow instead. Arrow grew up in a very high-class family that was about as far from nature as you could expect wolves to be. He always had the travel bug and eventually got an interest in old-fashioned cartography and navigation. Arrow is still very new to the whole outdoorsy thing and a little averse to the discomfort of travel that they're clearly not used to from their upbringing, but there's still this call to feel what he's been so domesticated from for so long. He often winds up in a lot of very strange and sometimes supernatural encounters due to following old maps to see if the areas unmarked in future editions are actually gone. He writes everything down, but most think Arrow is really just a very realistic fiction writer whenever their works are published. Next up is our sort of bright teal or cyan color. The first thought to come to mind for me, for some reason, was copper. Copper patinas to a really pretty complementary green. If you didn't know, that's just a bit darker than the eye color here. I had the idea for a character with a sort of normal copper base tone and the patina color on the sort of blush or sunburn points. And I pretty immediately landed on a fish or mermaid-like character. Instead of a fully marine lower body, I did decide to go for separate legs and a tail. I just like that configuration. I kind of based them on a goldfish, which is a little ironic, but also made the most sense to me. They do still have sharp teeth because, listen, I'm a simple person. I did also go for the classic fishhook piercing, but I did forgo the ear for a nose piercing. It is super fun designing like humanoid but kind of alien creatures like this. They're not quite anthro, but not quite a mermaid either. I decided to just name this character Copper for the obvious reasons. Copper comes from a species of sea monsters known for the metallic sheens of their scales. Copper has a love for shiny accessories that accent their scales which shift from orange to green from the sunlight, similar to their namesake. Most of their species rust in a variety of reds and oranges. Technically, copper comes from a gold varietal, and the color change is a rarity among their kind. Copper themselves finds it very appealing, though it makes them a pariah among their peers. They spend a lot of time harassing humans instead and gathering up all their fun, shiny things. And finally, we have the hot pink or bright purple, still not quite sure on that one. This gave me a very magical vibe, and I already sort of had a cat character on the brain since Arrow, who I'd also considered making a black cat. I know Cat Witch is a little cliche, I mean, I've done it, but I felt like I could still play with it. I went for a lot of analogous colors and decided to accent the whole thing with some pink hair. I was also inspired by my own black cat to make this girl a little fluffy, and it made for some really fun shapes throughout. I should really do some studies on outfits with skirts one of these days. I just kind of went with a random fun ruffly shape here, which I do like, but it just kind of made me realize I'm not all that familiar with skirt-based outfits. You draw what you know? And I don't really wear skirts or dresses. I ultimately decided on the name Wisp for this character. I was just feeling a W name, and Wisp is obviously quite magical. Wisp is a witch, unsurprisingly, but she's actually a modern witch who's really into the old-fashioned aesthetic. She specializes in vanity spells, well-woven glamours that make the user or target appear more beautiful or like a totally different person, perhaps what they most wanted to be in the first place. For her particular services, this comes with more than a simple fleeting fix-it, but an opportunity for the user to see themselves as what they truly want to be over something that will impress others. It's complicated and involves a lot of very therapy-like realizations. Understandably, she's also a psychologist. Magic is all about intent, after all. The stronger your conviction, the better things work. More often than not, her patrons find themselves with minimal change to what they thought they wanted, but incredibly happier all the same. She's also trans, which is kind of how her own journey with this magic started in the first place. And those are all my character designs for this week. Kind of a very opposite feeling trio, if you think about it. I did a dog, a fish, and a cat. I hadn't really thought about it until after they were all done. I don't know if these three would necessarily get along, although I could see Arrow accidentally running into both of the next characters in the roster in his travels. Let me know what you think in the comments, along with any other art challenges you'd like to see me do in the future. You can also subscribe to catch those and anything else I do. I try to upload consistently on Saturday or Sunday, depending on the size of the project I wind up giving myself. All the fun social links are down in the description, but at that, I will leave this here, and I will see y'all next time.